first common misconception is that because I don't drink, I don't party. And I'm gonna go ahead and say that they are quite wrong about that. I guess if your definition is that partying is drinking, that's different, but like I get it. Partying is like raging, going and getting like fucked up. But the thing is that partying isn't actually that. Partying is going out and like being with everybody at the party or at the festival or at the show or at the concert, and you don't necessarily need to drink to go party. I go out all the time. I'm going to a show tonight. It's going to start at like midnight or something like that. Going to a festival next weekend. I was out last weekend both nights until like 3 a.m. People who decide to stop drinking miss alcohol and wish that they could have it. For me, I don't think I wanted to stop drinking when I decided to stop, but I certainly don't want it now.
Nope.
That's for sure. A large amount of people who have decided to stop drinking, like me, saw the contrast between life with alcohol, and then we saw the contrast without alcohol, and we liked the one without alcohol better after experiencing both. Again, that's not me saying that like everybody needs to stop drinking to live a great life. That's not me saying that you can only have a good life if you decide to stop drinking. Not at all. My opinion is our society as a default drinks because that's what we've always done. That's what we always grew up doing. That's what our family and our friends do. That's what advertisements, brainwash us with. That's what we did when we turned 21. That's what we did when we were like 13. If you're anything like me and you started drinking in high school, that's what you do. People who don't drink alcohol are like kind of like squares, and I guess I did like a circle. They're like squares. Contrary to popular belief, some of the most successful people out there are people that have decided to stop drinking. Often, a lot of times, they're in very high ranking positions, whether in a company or they own their own company or are just really big hustlers at whatever they do because they want to be able to perform. And being hungover and actually having this like kind of foggy head and being tired and spending all those hours like recovering basically from drinking isn't something that fits into that lifestyle because they can't execute. So that's a really common misconception that they're squares. They're not squares. They're hustling. They're out there to get it, and they're typically pretty cool people. Obviously, there's amazingly successful people out there who still drink, and that doesn't matter for them. But you cannot meet anybody unless you drink and you go to the bars. I will say in the beginning that is true because that's what if we've always drank, that's something that like that's where we meet people. So it's hard to like totally change your lifestyle and then just 100% meet everybody, all your new favorite people right away. If you go to places that attract people that do things that you like to do, let's say it's something fitness related, painting, making music, talking about whatever, right? Similar topics. Those people exist there and thrive in those places, and that's where we can meet people. Depends on the city. Obviously, some cities are really, really bar heavy, but that said, you can still go to the bars and meet people at the bars. That's another thing. It's like, okay, sure, a lot of people meet people at the bars. There's nothing barring, no pun intended, there's nothing barring people who don't drink from meeting people at the bars. The only time I think people really decide to like tap out of a bar situation is when people in general start getting too messed up and you can't actually make conversation. Then it's just boring to be there if you're not drinking. If you don't drink, you're not going to be able to meet a like romantic partner. That is so false. In fact, some of the most amazing guys that I've met over the last few years since I stopped drinking were people that really aligned with my personality, and I didn't drink at that time. And that's not to say the people I met before that were bad, not at all, but there was really no difference in that. It was just sort of easy, I suppose, to meet people because it just naturally happened. It was naturally occurring, and the conversations were really authentic, so it actually made things more streamlined in the sense that like if it was a good energy match, great, we're gonna roll with it. If it's not, like, you could tell pretty quickly because there was no alcohol to kind of create that lubricant there. I have another video on this actually about the 5 things that changed when I decided to stop drinking, what changed in the dating game, I should say, when I decided to stop drinking. So people who don't drink are kind of antisocial and don't love going out and about. false. I am like a very social person. I'm also pretty introverted, but like I've got a pretty solid mixture of both, and I need to be around people to feel happy and fulfilled. And to do that, I get around people in settings that I can have intimate conversations with them and connection and feel, you know, very connected with that person in that time. That can be the bar. It sometimes is the bar. It can be the concert. A lot of the times it's the concert. A lot of times it's the festival. I'm not a loner, and the people that I know that decide to stop drinking, they're not loners at all. In fact, it's kind of the opposite. So that's certainly not a thing. If you're considering this lifestyle of not drinking, go ahead and subscribe below. I talk about this stuff all the time. I stopped drinking when I was 25 or 26. It's been about 3 years. And for me, now that I have that perspective, I realize it's probably the best thing I've ever done for myself, hands down. If you like this video, please like it so other people can see it and the algorithm can get it out there for them. And if you have any comments, any questions, go ahead and drop it down below. I also love talking about things that just challenge the paradigm. I talk about space all the time and other news that's going on there. So if you're into that kind of stuff, would love to see you come back. Thank you guys. See ya.